Are we ready to go? Are we ready to go? Ryan McKinnell's here.
Hi.
Ryan, can I play just a little bit of country music just to get us fired up?
All right. Yeah, I love it. Let's go.
All right.
We're from North California and South Alabama, and all they've done is unite the whole land.
Different times, Hank Jr. I don't think you mean what you mean.
There's no more Yankees and rebels this time, but one united people that stand behind. America can survive. America will survive. America can survive. America is gonna survive.
You like that
Actually,
drum break? You like that dun 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 dun.
I feel like there are Yankees and rebels again, and now we've got both sides are like, America will survive. But I think people are saying my America will survive. So what's up, McKinnell? How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. We got a lot of good stories to get to. Had a bunch of stuff logged from over the weekend and really didn't even get to them today on Cofield and Company. So more and more, we hit on some of the topics we do on CNC at 3 o'clock, but a lot of times it's a whole new show. So we're glad McKinnell's here with us. I will come out of the gates and ask a very important question. Your dog suffered an injury. How is Paulie?
Paulie's doing okay. We have, man, the real bummer of this story is July 9th is his birthday. Due to COVID, we haven't been able to get to see our vet, so we haven't been able to get the exact details on what our next steps will be. So his real first appointment outside of the ER is going to be July 9th on his birthday. So we'll find out more. We've been feeding him this drug called Antinol. It's supposed to build up the fluid between the bones if there's anything that can be salvaged of his ACL and that whole surrounding area. So he's mostly good given the circumstances, and he loves quarantine because, I'm home, the wife is home, and he has more attention than, is humanly possible or that he's ever had in his life. So he's about to be 11 on July 9th. He's still acting like a puppy, and that is why his ACL is most likely torn, because he doesn't know when to sit down and shut up and slow down. But he's good. Thanks for asking. How are all your neighborhood cats?
They all survived the fireworks, so we're good to go. The two kittens, the two kittens have been toughened up. We've been fostering 2 kittens. They go bye-bye in about 10 days, so they're ready to go. They're ready to go.
You say you were toughening? Was that you toughening them up, like major pain, where you like grabbing them by the face, like, this is the real world. This is 2020. You gotta toughen up. Shit's about to get real.
I was motivated after watching Fatty hit the first the patio and then barely missed the bricks on the side. I'm like, you know what? These cats can swim. So we taught them. I'm kidding. I would never throw the cats in the pool, but they're ready to go. They're ready to go. This is there was a lot of good videos over the weekend. This is crazy because first of all, it's totally dangerous. I don't understand why people do this. Have you been to house parties where people have gone off the roof into a pool?
Yeah.
Yeah. The SO, I think she's had that happen too. I would never do this. I was never this crazy, never this drunk, never this high. And man, in the kind of shape this broad's in, I don't know. Maybe she thinks she's more athletic than she appears.
I'll say this. I realized I think every fat person has a come to Jesus moment where you realize that you carry more force and velocity than your average person. My realization came as a freshman in college at Ball State, where apparently there's this dam, this reservoir outside Indianapolis where like people used to go and get wasted and you'd slide down the dam. I don't know. You're kids, whatever. But you had to jump a couple fences to break into the dam. So we break into the dam. My athletic skinny friends jump the fence. Now I get on top of the fence, but what I don't realize is it's like propped up kind of like this. Like if that makes sense, right? So I'm standing on one fence, but then there's another fence adjacent to it. and I get to hop the fence. I'm getting ready to jump, so I prop my hand up on the other fence. The problem was the other fence was made out of barbed wire, and I grabbed a handful of barbed wire, and I kind of like freaked out and grabbed my hand and fell forward, and just collapsed completely on my arm and almost broke my foot. But my point is I stopped going to high places thinking I could do athletic shit, and that was the realization for this young lady here.
Yeah, as Ray points out, you got to watch the stutter step. She stutter steps and completely screws herself. She doesn't launch from the roof, and she's got to clear
confidence.
She's got to clear the patio. Gil the Thrill, somebody in that physical shape has no chance of making that leap outside of an NFL level lineman. You're right. I mean, we had Mark May on today. I'm sure when Mark May played in the NFL at 6'6" and 295, he'd have to be careful. Like an NFL lineman would have to be careful of jumping over the pool. Even as big as they are at 300 pounds. The other thing I worried about, I can't really tell here. We'll play the video and shut up. But I don't even know if this is a deep end. This is an old ass pool because you can see the freaking that's brick on the side. Like that. There's no lip that's made of the pool deck material. That is freaking brick. And it's also a small backyard apparently because there's probably where she lands 4 feet between the patio and the brickage. So let's play this. She goes. Oh, God. That's awesome. All right, a couple of things. First of all, kudos. That thing in the front is fucking awesome. I love the bull blow up, the inflatable.
You're jealous.
So maybe she felt athletic after being on that. I'm liking, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but I'm liking the crew of ladies back here. By the way, how separated is this party? This appears to be all sausage underneath the patio, and it's all broads over here. What sort of mingling is this? The other amazing thing here is if you watch, let's watch the video. Look at that splash. That's a good splash. Look at that. Woo! If you look at the splash, I don't think outside of like 3 people of like 30, they don't even look at it. Like look to see if she's okay, or like not one person jumped in like, holy fuck, she may have hit her head. Watch this. This chubbo is like, oh, did something happen? Yeah, she almost killed herself jumping off the roof.
That was my first takeaway. Now you've since obviously broken this video down more, but the lack of empathy from everybody in attendance. It was almost like I knew a couple people like that when dumb shit happened. You were almost like glad it happened. Like a senior year, I had a buddy Ryan. He was sticking his fingers in beer cans and he was like flicking them. I don't know what he was doing. He was super drunk.
Let me cut the tip of my finger off.
That's exactly what he did, and it was senior night. We were at one of our girlfriend's parents had a lake house, so we were up at the lake house partying, and it was like 45 minutes to the nearest hospital, and he totally took the top of his finger off. He's like, "No, someone's gonna drive me to the hospital." I'm like, "Dude, this is the last night of school. I'm not taking you anywhere." He's like, "You can drive yourself." It was a complete lack of empathy on my part because he consistently did dumb shit. Young lady who hit the awning right there, I find it hard to believe, Steve, this was the first dumb thing she did. I mean, that's really dumb. But what is she thinking? What is she thinking right there? She's not thinking.
Like, no, but in that pose where she's like, oh, I'm not going to make the pool.
Yeah. I've had a couple incidents like that. It's always the scariest when you have time to think about what's going to happen. I've caught myself in the air for extended periods of time where you have time to think about the fear and the impact of what's going to hit. I'm sure there's some element of that right there. And then when she wakes up in the pool or whatever happens, to her, I'm sure she's just glad she's alive because that's the other takeaway. Takeaway number 1, as you said, complete lack of empathy from everybody. And Brady is right. The awning took a beating, right?
I would be. Let me tell you something. If she, my patio is in need of much repair. She would have bounced off it, but also broke it.
Well,
I would have been so pissed. Well, first of all, I wouldn't have let her out of the house.
Look at how close she comes to busting her head on the concrete after the awning. The difference of this video being hilarious to homicidal is like razor thin.
And look, here's the dude over here. He made it by 5 feet. Then you got the two morons in the pool who have no idea what's coming at them. They're lucky they didn't get pulverized and their heads jammed into their shoulders. I don't know how she missed them. So then she bounces. I mean, I don't even know what that. She's upside down. Oh God, look at that! Look at that shot right there. How did she not hit her head?
That's what I'm saying. She's dead.
Oh my God.
Bad. It's white people. Steve.
Look at this guy here.
What this comes down to, it's the whites.
This guy here's drinking. I don't know, man. It's not reserved for one race or one ethnicity, because if you looked at the strip club in Atlanta where they built a pool inside the strip club, and there's a bunch of dudes shirtless with strippers, and they're all grinding, and they're all kind of in that COVID soup, all hot and boiling. It ain't just. You're right. Many of these videos are. It seems like bumpkin whites, but it ain't. That's not the only group, man.
Well, hold on. That was risk versus reward, right? That was in the name of fun and strippers and, good times and dancing. This is in the name of white people doing dumb shit where they're lucky they didn't end up dead. Like, I mean, I can empathize with taking the risk for the, for the betterment of a good night out. This serves no purpose. It's risk reward. The balance is not equal.
Wow. So close to the other two, whatever they are, chicks in there.
No one cared.
Jesus Christ! Look, they got you know what's great? I just noticed they got a ladder set up at the end, so they're probably jumping off of that earlier. What the fuck?
Play the sound again when she hits the awning.
Oh!
That is a sturdy awning. Whoever put that in needs to make a commercial out of that. Go local. That is. Oof. Oh man, and let this be a lesson to every other fat person out there. You can't do the majority of the shit that you think you can do. I know you still think you got it. You still got those moves, right? You don't. You're old.
The guy actually did make a really nice landing.
Yep. You know what? Great point. That's the other part we missed in this. He stuck the landing.
I'm impressed by the floats she's got. So they got the bull float, as someone pointed out earlier. Sorry, there's a lot of comments on this. The bull float's awesome. I think they've got a what's it called? Beer pong, floating beer pong in the pool.
That's awesome.
That's nice. This one looks a bit deflated, so I guess she was lying on that earlier. Got a little too confident. Yeah, good times. Good times. America will survive. See?
I like it.
There's proof right there. We can do anything we want, even if you're a little bit overweight. Maybe your softball legs aren't as strong as they used to be and explosive as they used to be. We can survive. It worked out.
Rest in peace, Charlie Daniel.
Happy ending.
Yes.
I love Mark LV with a simple, oh, fuck.
It was one of the top 3 videos of the weekend, that's for sure.
My God. Good times in America, baby. Good times in America. What else did we get? Yeah, she probably does need new friends.
Yeah. They don't care about her. That's the other thing. Ashley, I'm assuming your name's Ashley. Ashley, those aren't real friends. You need to find new friends.
Big Ash.
Big Ash. Down to the count.
Yeah, it's titled 706 Fatty, so I'm guessing Georgia. No, I titled it 706 Fatty. There are palm trees in the back. That to me looks. That looks.
Titled it 706 Fatty.
Well, yeah, I got to remember this.
Why 706?
I feel like this is somewhere in the Southwest. I feel like this is Arizona, Nevada, California. Kind of on the right, you've got that kind of those brushy type trees. You got some palms in the back. So, if it's local, I'm up to party. Let's do it, kids.
You just want that bull float.
What's the difference in a hard hit? Mike Tyson KO or the drunk girl going off the roof?
I mean, Mike Tyson's not going to break your tibia in half and kill you. So the roof. I mean, I don't know what we're comparing, but I'm just going roof every time.
All right, good one. 7:06 is the date. That's the date today.
Oh.
You have my naming. Ashley was looking for attention. I heard you mention that one. She looks more like, is she a future Karen? Could be.
No, man. Karens are stuck in the mud. Karens are always bitching and complaining. At least Ashley parties. Like, I mean, she's dumb, and she almost killed herself. But I'd rather be around Ashley than Karen.
This is a good challenge. Should we get her on?
$700, sorry.
No, it's not $700 again. No.
Not me.
Someone said, I think it's SoCal. I think you might be right. Roof might need reinforcement. Yep. That's an old school patio, too. That's not even like concrete, not even really concrete base there. Ooh, that thing could have come crashing down. All right, we avoided disaster. Everyone happy? We're off to a good start. Happy stories? It's always happy stories. I love this. She had the heart. It wasn't pretty, but the heart was in the right place. You're right. You're right.
I agree.
Don't kill people's dreams.
You know, again, she almost died. So let's not be too funny about yes, I agree. You know, damn it. I said there's something to say about having that winning spirit, about just wanting to party and let it all loose. I'm for it. But guys, we got to be smart. If you're fat, you can't jump off roofs into pools. And even if you're skinny, you probably shouldn't do that shit either. It's just a good rule of thumb.
Do you think Ashley, the roof jumper, celebrated National Fried Chicken Day today?
Maybe, if she's not nursing her wounds from that epic fall, potentially. Did you?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
I made chicken. I made chicken, but I didn't go get fried chicken yet.
I made leftover fried rice with chicken in it. I mean,
I will go out for late night. I'll go out for late night fried chicken, but I need to be coaxed. I need some good suggestions. And even if it's not tonight, because the place might not be open late, I'll go tomorrow.
Well,
belated celebration of National Fried Chicken Day. Where do we go?
You know, I know a place.
Because I found this list on Thrillist. It's everywhere you can get free and cheap food today for National Fried Chicken Day, and the list was really lame. I mean, it was just bad.
What made it bad?
Where do you go, Ryan?
Well,
just the freebie sucked. It was like, you know, they ended yesterday. It was like free delivery if you buy $20 worth of chicken from this place. Like that's not a good deal.
No, the old Thirst Busters, which is Casino Valley Verde. They got that $9.99 fried chicken dinner, which comes with, you know, like the sides and the salad and all that. I like that spot. Village Pub has a good affordable fried chicken. You know, I've always been partial to the Chicken Shack too. I mean, there's just a lot of good fried chicken. Fried chicken, as you know, Steve, it's really hard to mess up. I mean, you got to be a really shitty cook or anything to mess up fried chicken.
That's not true. That's not true. You could dry it out. You could dry it. Well, all right. I'm not going to make Roscoe's tonight. And have they opened a Roscoe's in Vegas that I don't know about? Yes, Roscoe's is awesome. Yes.
Yeah, you can dry out, Steve. But I mean, you got to be really shitty to do that.
Middle-aged kid said I got KFC for dinner. Didn't even know it was a day today. Did they have any specials at KFC? Was anything going on? I'd like to get some mashed potatoes from KFC. I'm craving that. Yardbird. Is there a limit? By the way, is there a limit on price that fried chicken? Like you're at some point, you're like, wow, I'm kind of turned off now.
Yeah, Yardbird is probably it, and I like it.
How high is Yardbird?
Oh, it's up there, man. It's up there. It's
Especially
in
at
the
the
20s.
Venetian?
Yeah, it's in the 20s.
What's your limit? No more than $20?
I don't really have a limit. It's just like, you're only going to fool me so much. There's only so much you can do with fried chicken, and usually the best fried chicken is the Greasy Spoon Diner somewhere that, you know, doesn't look great, you know. You just kind of find on your own. You can only spice it up so much. You can only do so much to it. So, yeah, if I'm at a place and they're charging a certain amount for it, I'll likely go with a different option. But I do, Yardbird, they got some good homemade lemonades and juices. Like, I do like it. It's just a little A little outside my budget. Fried chicken is one of those things, Steve, that you can eat in an affordable way, and it's still going to be just as delicious if you pay some stupid price for it.
Wasn't that the whole point of chicken and fried chicken? Is that it was the cheapest, most affordable meat forever? By the way,
Yep.
the Yardbird has Llewellyn's fine fried chicken, half of our famous bird served with hot honey sauce. All right, that's a good size. It's $28.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I don't know if you get a side with that. Check on that because I don't. You might not get a side. It might be $30 for half a fried chicken, which no, it is no.
I have not been to Nevada Chicken Cafe. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I haven't either. I didn't even hear of that.
Technically, I don't think Shaq has pieces of chicken. He's got chicken sandwich. This is a whole different category. We're not talking chicken. Believe me, we'll get to some chicken sandwiches here in a second. This is fried chicken.
We're talking whole chicken?
No. Fried chicken. I want breast. I want thigh. I want
all right.
a leg or a wing. Like real fried chicken. All right, so we got multiple votes for the Chicken Cafe, Nevada Chicken Cafe.
All right.
I will also say Steiner's, believe it or not, they actually have a good fried chicken meal. And I'll agree with McKinnell. That Casino Valley Verde is good, man. It's good. But those can't be the best in the market.
No.
The farm basket's very good. You're right. Only one location, though, right? Penny Packer? Oh, no. Am I being led down the wrong path? Nevada Chicken Cafe doesn't have fried chicken. It's just grilled? Come on now.
What?
There's difference.
3 of them. There's 3 of these Nevada Chicken Cafes, and I've never even heard of them.
All right. I'm in. Oh, no. It's coming unraveled. It says here, Razorback Scoop says all rotisserie. Does any of the barbecue places have fried chicken?
Rolling Smoke might. I'm not sure, though.
And then a couple of people have said the sushi place at the Cosmo, what is that, Blue Ribbon Sushi? They've got legit fried chicken.
That is good. I will vouch for that.
The other thing I got to get more of is Korean fried chicken.
I just had it last night my buddy was in town. He left Sunday night, went out to the Korean barbecue spot down by Paradise, and they've got that chicken karaage with the little chipotle mayo sauce. So good. So good.
Cracker Barrel? What do we I don't know.
Don't smirk at that. I'm a Cracker Barrel loyalist.
Are you really?
I like Cracker Barrel.
What do you get there?
I am. I only really went there when I lived in Indiana, and I just liked it because I went as a kid, and I liked the little peg game they had there, and they have a huge menu, and it's all terrible for you. So it all tasted good to me. I would imagine their fried chicken is pretty good. I don't know. There's just something about the Barrel I love. I haven't had it in years. We have a couple here in town, don't we? I think we do. I'm going to check.
We have at least one.
Okay. This is a great subject. I'm learning so much, and I'm going to have so many terrible places to eat now.
I'm trying to find the other one. The guy who owns Fat Choi also has a chicken place downtown, which was on one of the TV cooking shows. Is that Flock and Fowl? Does that sound right? I think it's Flock and Fowl.
Maybe.
Flock and Fowl.
We counting that Best Friends place over at Park. They do some fried chicken, but I don't think it's like a whole fried chicken though.
That's fine.
Or like what you're talking about: breast, wing, thigh, all that good stuff. Blue Ribbon is good. Yep.
And Seth or Terreno says, I don't think it's Seth Arano. He says Flock and Fowl is right.
All right.
Did you see updates today, Ryan McKinnell, on new cancellations?
New cancellations?
I think you're a fan of most cancel culture, right? Some of it?
I don't think so. I mean,
no?
I got canceled.
No. You didn't get canceled. You didn't get canceled because
Barstool tried to cancel me. The Mr. Travis Army tried to cancel me. It depends on this. I'm a situational supporter of canceling.
All right. Bob's Big Boy, I don't feel like it got canceled, but do you know they're getting rid of the boy as their mascot?
Why?
You're familiar with Bob Big Boy, right? Did they have him in Indiana? They have him in Indiana?
Yeah, I'm holding the tray, man. I got you. Absolutely.
Okay. This to me, it's not a cancellation, but they're getting rid of the boy as their mascot, the Big Boy.
Does this have to do with like 2020? And is there a controversy behind it? I'm really lost.
I don't think.
Shift?
Well, I don't think there's a controversy, but they've decided they're getting into.
Say goodbye to Big Boy, at least as you.
Well, hold on 1 second there, Big Boy. I'm going to load you up here. They're trying to get into the chicken game, and it's weird. The story here out of somewhere in Michigan says Big Boy says they've reignited the fried chicken sandwich debate. Okay, the debate's over. All right, we did that last year. You can't just come in now.
People got killed because of it.
Well, there was violence, yes.
Also, isn't it amazing that, 10 months later, everyone's calmed the fuck down and we can get a chicken sandwich now? How about we remember that when we're stabbing and shooting people for fried chicken, and the next dumbass release comes around and everyone's like, I gotta taste it! And just relax.
You can get it. You can get it in 4 months. Big Boy says it reignited the fried chicken sandwich debate started by Popeyes late last year with a twist. The first 20 people in line, 11 a.m. on Monday, will receive a free chicken sandwich every week for the rest of the year. This is their big promotion. It says here, Big Boy says, we're rolling out a brand new chicken sandwich. We're calling it the best clucking chicken sandwich around. And Dolly, they have a chick mascot. I guess Dolly was behind the scenes. Who has been with the Big Boys since 1950. As far as we can go back with our comic books, we decided that she's going to be the star of the sandwich, as Big Boy was the star of his double-decker sandwich. So Big Boy has to step aside now for Dolly. Does this feel right?
It's time for the ladies. Let's go. I'm with it. I don't give a shit. It's Bob's Big Boy. When's the last time you've seen a Bob's Big Boy? Just seriously, where are they?
Trying to rebrand, man. Trying to rebrand.
You got mad at me when I picked Hot Now in our fast food draft. I'm pretty sure Bob's Big Boy is not a thing. Also, are they trying to are they trying to be the new Popeyes? What were the details of lining up again for free food? You trying to work people into a frenzy like Popeyes did when they pulled their chicken sandwich after a month and were like, hey, we ran out. No, you didn't. You're trying to drive people into hysteria. So the one lone Bob's Big Boy left in the country is going to start a riot? I don't know what's going on, man.
Let me try and play this as their player on this TV channel sucks, so we'll play it. Oh, my God. Nightmare!
Well, Casey, this is all obviously part of a promotional campaign, but management we spoke with said Big Boy is going bye-bye. They say the switch in franchise faces has nothing to do with the nationwide push to remove offensive names, statues, and logos, but had everything to do with the coronavirus pandemic, which is wide, especially those without a drive-thru option. Now that dine-in services have resumed, Big Boy thought this move would...
We felt it was necessary.
That's enough. I'm already tired of this story. There's no reason to make the change. It's not a cancellation. How do you get rid of an iconic mascot like that unless it's virtue signaling and we can't just be the boy. We have to satisfy the girls. As middle-aged kid says, good timing, Big Boy. Good timing.
An entire generation is finding out that Big Boy that still exists. I did. So no press is bad press. You're upset by it. I don't give a shit, which I guess I now care in the most minute of ways. I have no idea what these brands are thinking. Like, IHOP did it last year, right? They went from the International House of Pancakes. They're like, oh, we're not going by IHOP anymore. We're now IHOP, or the International House of Burgers. It just feels cheap. I don't care enough about Big Boy. Now, if you were to go around and change Wendy's to Frank's, yeah, I'd be kind of pissed. You know what I mean? But I got no skin in the game, in the Big Boy game. So it is what it is. I'm sorry you're upset, though, Steve. Will you get over it?
It seems unnecessary. Brady says, I've never seen a physical Big Boy restaurant, but the mascot greets you at the Cincy Zoo. Totally agree on this one. Not even a debate. I don't know how this is. I don't know what the deal is here.
Maybe there's like a Denny's mob. It's like keeping Waffle House out of Vegas, like breaking legs and intimidating the potential Waffle House franchisees. It makes no sense.
No. Did you see the latest woman to go through a cancellation? Fuck you. Woman in Elizabethtown, Tennessee, yelling at people, saying white lives are better.
I did see that.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
and now she's paid the price.
Yeah, lost her job.
Do you feel bad for her?
No, man. I hope every single one of these people loses their job. When you're
Why,
going
man?
out there, when you're going out there and essentially hailing Hitler and being like, white people rule, I hope all the bad shit in the world happens to you. And people are losing it, you know? And you've seen some of the other videos of the Karens pulling pieces on everybody and just like holding people down at gunpoint. I mean, at some point, you're going to do that to someone, to a real one, and you're going to end up with some real problems. It's just white people, and specifically Karens right now, are having a very tough time with COVID-19 and quarantine and Black Lives Matter and a changing, hopefully, of the guard in this country on some level. So no, Steve, back to your original question. I do not feel bad.
Why do they have a problem?
Because they're racist? That is
like, why? I just wonder what goes through someone's head when they walk by a protest and they're like, Black Lives Matter, and they're like, ugh, like, why are you getting mad? What do you care?
Right.
No one is saying you don't. No one is saying you don't matter. And like, this woman had, it sounds like a real job. She was working at the Keith Family Vision Clinic. Keith Family Vision Clinic. The name sucks. Johnson City. And she's now been fired for saying white lives matter. White lives are better. She also yelled at another protester, "You're a gay, homosexual piece of crap who's going to burn in hell." All right.
Christians, though. Very godly. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
it's just people losing their minds, thinking that they can take their talk from the dinner table out into public. Thank goodness everyone has a cell phone now. That is your best friend and one of your only weapons in this world. Thank goodness they're recording them and putting them on blast, because they will lose their job, and it's a good thing. That racist, hateful, bigoted piece of trash has no business contributing to society, right? Person teaches their kids to be like them, sends their kids to school with our kids, shops in the same grocery lanes that we do. You know, that's our country. This is America. We got to acknowledge it, and we got to do better. Now I get on a soapbox, but I mean, we know what this is. I'm from Indiana. I know what this is. You're from Jersey. You know what this is. You spend time in Florida. You know what this is. It's America. We're all in it together in that sense. You know what I mean? We know that racism exists. It's prevalent. And you have crazy ladies with soccer mom haircuts who are out there, white lives are better. You homosexual piece of trash. It's like, holy shit. How do you exist in 2020? But they do.
Yep. And to Ryan's point, like, oh, look at what they're teaching their kids. Oh, I don't know. Is this the outcome? Is this the result? Did you see this one?
Nope.
The Jimmy John's kids in Georgia who are like, let's make a noose out of the dough and wear a noose. Look, and one camera, and there's the other camera, a second one. They've got two views of it. They've been fired.
Yeah. At least they wear masks, though. Yeah.
The hits keep coming.
Yeah, I'll say this about
man.
I'll say this about them as opposed to crazy racist Karen. They're kids. Now, I'm not saying I agree or that I condone, or obviously I hate, that video, and it's horrible, and it is, symptomatic of a much larger problem here in America. That said, there is a small part of me that hopes and believes they can change, unlike the lady that was on the video screaming white lives are better. So I think there's a chance. Yeah, they lost your job at Jimmy John's. I've lost a lot of jobs at Jimmy John's. You're going to be a better person because of it. You still got time. So if I'm looking at a glass half full tip, they're kids. Hopefully they wake up. This shit goes viral. They feel the pressure from it going viral. And, they change. If not, then there'll be another video of them 15 years down the road and they can get canceled all over again. Because, again, everyone has a cell phone and people are waking up to how important it is. And you can feel these confrontations building, in, maybe not the Jimmy John's one, but certainly the Karen one. And you and I have both been in different situations. You can start feeling that build in the moment. Start recording early and you can get it all. Because, again, these crazy people are out there.
Who's with Eli that they were just mocking suicide and it wasn't racist?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe in July, June 2020, that's what they meant, if you're a fucking idiot.
What do you think, Eli? You think it's suicide? You sure?
No.
You're right. It's not fair to jump to conclusions, but I guess mocking suicide is not real funny either. It's really not good for business. Although, as someone pointed out earlier, shocking that it would happen under this guy, Jimmy John, because he's quite the sweetheart, isn't he, with all his big game hunting and acting like a horse's ass?
Yep. Not a big fan of that guy.
Ari's got a simple no for Eli. Brady, Eli with back-to-back bad takes on the last two shows. You missed the end of Friday's show. Tay Stevens comes in, giant-titted adult film star, nice lady. You've never seen her?
Yeah, Jade?
No. Tay Stevens, right?
Hey,
Stevens,
no.
right? Friends of Koken, I think we had her in studio at least once, and then it turns out she's a Patriots fan. Eli decides to go in on her for like 5 minutes about what a front runner she is because she's in Toronto or she's from Toronto and she should be rooting for the Buffalo Bills. And I went like 10 comments deep, and finally Tay Stevens is like, "How about this? Go fuck yourself." Like, all right.
Way to go, Eli.
Always smooth with the ladies, Eli. Always smooth. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look her up real quick. Hold on.
Yeah. Check it out. I punch up a picture, but I don't know if I can find a clean one. So
I can.
Nice.
Well, or not, you know what I mean.
Yeah. All right. Some sports topics tonight on the happy hour. McKinnell, your reaction to David Price, Dodgers pitcher. He's out.
Yep.
COVID worries. Ian Desmond, he's out. Part COVID, part all the ills of baseball, biggest part, 8% of Major League Baseball is African-American. So he's like, we got to make some changes. He feels like he's better off not playing and trying to speak about the changes. Joe Ross, Mike Leake, Ryan Zimmerman. This one's interesting. And again, I've seen a lot of reaction from people saying to these baseball players, stop being a pussy and get out there and play. I would play. Well, maybe you wouldn't if you were $135 million in terms of salary. So Nick Markakis opts out because he had talked to Freddie Freeman, who had coronavirus. A teammate had coronavirus. He spoke to Freeman. He's like, yeah, I'm taking a pass.
Yeah, Steve.
How can you get mad at him?
If I had fuck you money, there is nothing. You could, not a championship, not a loaded team like David Price is on. There is nothing you could do to have me get in a room with a bunch of people and risk getting COVID. So any athlete that is sitting out during this time, I am 100% on board, and I completely understand. I'm paid. I'm good to go. I'm not risking my life or potentially the health of loved ones or close family, friends, whatever the case may be. I know they're trying to bubble and do all that stuff, but it's just a stupid risk. It's even made even dumber if you have a ton of money, which all these athletes do. I mean, if you're on a major league team of almost any sort, you have a pretty nice life, and you can miss a year. Is it going to suck overall? Yeah. I mean, it's of course it's better making the money, but it's a lot better not having a percentage of your lung capacity taken, or many of the unknowns we don't know about COVID-19. No, I have no problem Steve, with any of these people sitting out, because I would be doing the exact same thing. What, I want to die? I want to again take percentage of my life. I have no interest in that.
Yeah, Marquez said he talked to Freddie Freeman. He said just hearing the way he sounded on the phone kind of opened my eyes. Freddie didn't sound good. By the way, Freddie Freeman's more than 2 weeks into this thing, and Von Miller has talked about still having breathing issues from a few months back. Marquez said we play for the fans, and to take them out of the equation, that's tough. And I think it's a tough blow for me. Oh, he's talking about playing without the fans, so that lost some of his interest. And he said with everything that's going on, not just in baseball, but in the world, it makes you open your eyes. I've got 3 kids that I've missed for 11 years now, so he's out. And now you wonder, oh, I got really scared. Joey Gallo just popped up on the screen. I'm like, please, Joey. Fantasy baseball, you can't. But, if Joey Gallo from Vegas wants to opt out because he's worried, then opt out. The next big one for baseball is what happens when Mike Trout, who's got a kid on the way, is like, you know what, I think I'm out.
Yeah. I don't see what the problem is. This could be like the NCAA tournament back in March, where it took a couple dominoes falling and then everyone followed suit. If Trout's out, you will see a domino effect. You're talking about the best player not just the best player in baseball, the best player of a generation. And when it's all done, you might be talking about the best player ever. And obviously that's high praise, but obviously the 5-tool player that he is, and it's a bummer he's on a losing squad out there in Anaheim, but nonetheless, when his name gets mentioned, people pay attention. And I think he is a bit of a leader in Major League Baseball because of how silent he is, and because of how frankly good he is. I think other baseball players look up to Mike Trout as a human being and as a player. So if and when, which I think I agree with whatever. Whoever's saying that, Seth, bets are both out. It's going to not look well for the rest of the league. And I keep going back to what I've said. All these indicators, right? NFL's ending preseason. Well, first they ended the Hall of Fame game. Then they're cutting back preseason. Certain players are dropping out. We're not going to have sports. And I'm not, it's just, that's my personal feeling. And I think the players know that. And a good majority of them are just trying to get on the right side of it now and let people down as best they can, because I also truly believe, the players are as bummed as we are. They get to go out and make millions of dollars to play a game and to be kids, essentially. They don't want to be doing this, but this is about life and death. You talk about Von Miller. You talk about who was the other player that you mentioned?
Well, Rudy Gobert is also feeling the effects from testing positive back on March 17th, and you're right.
Yeah.
Who mentioned the Gallo thing? I totally missed that. I swear to God, there were 2 big stories that broke when I was driving into the station. I try not to sit there and scroll the whole time when I'm driving in, but I did not even see that Joey Gallo tested positive. It came out at 2:00 this afternoon. So Las Vegas Joey Gallo has it, and look at how close we are to the season. So now Gallo may be out. God damn. Yeah, it's every day I try to reset.
I don't see how you justify it, Steve. I don't see how you justify it.
But every day I try to reset, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna have baseball, football, college football, NBA, NHL. It's all gonna work out. And then every day you're just like, boom, boom, test. It's positive test. Freaking facility shut down. Then the story over the weekend, baseball trying to get players tested completely fucked it up. They're like, oh, 4th of July weekend. That's right. FedEx only has a certain number of staff. We can't get the test back by Monday. So then you see Mookie Betts today. Betts is 1, baseball sucked in its response to George Floyd. So he's annoyed about that. And 2, he's like, first round of testing, not exactly making me real confident. He goes, I can't say that I'm confident because that really hasn't been shown yet in terms of baseball being effective at this. That is with all that you have to deal with right now in terms of having ducks in a row, and most important, make sure that everyone's safe going back. All that goddamn time back and forth, owners and players negotiating, all that time, all the dead periods too, right?
Yep. Where
they were playing a game of chicken. They couldn't come up with the game plan for their coronavirus testing and safety. You feel like they are literally scrambling right now. You guys want to start? At the end of the month, players are reporting. Why is this not ready?
Look at the concern hierarchy, right? It ain't health and safety is your number one priority. It's always about the money. And that's why they haggled about that bullshit 4 months. And yes, Brady, Rob Manfred can go to hell. He is one of the worst commissioners in my lifetime of any sport. He is a buffoon. He has damaged the brand of Major League Baseball, which has done a pretty solid job of damaging its brand over my lifetime, the last 36 years, in a way that I can't even imagine. In a pandemic where, everyone is looking to you for leadership, and any of the owners too. It's all tied together with Manfred and the owners, and the players on some level do bear a little bit of responsibility, but as I've said time and time again, Steve, it's the players who are going to be going out and risking their health. It's the players that are going to be going out and being with their teammates, exposing themselves to COVID, while the ownership is going to be sitting back collecting their TV dollars and being up in – they're not even going to be in their skyboxes at the game. They're not going to be anywhere near COVID. So for them to have a say in this or try to lobby and to go back and forth and try to cut corners and try to come back after they've already agreed to prorated salaries is bullshit. Rob Manfred is bullshit. Baseball is bullshit. And I don't care if it's coming back. I really don't. And I'm sure their players don't either. Because if I'm this disgusted, imagine how Mookie Betts feels. Imagine how Mike Trout feels. Imagine how David Price feels. Imagine how they all feel. They feel like they are being used, and they are being told pretty much right to their damn face that we don't give a shit if you live or die.
Sean has a good question, and it's valid. Are all the players who tested positive across sports asymptomatic? Well, we just named a couple, right? Gobert and Von Miller have said they're still feeling effects. We just mentioned Freddie Freeman speaking on the phone to Markakis, and Markakis is like, oh, fuck. He sounds terrible. This sounds awful. He's out. I'll ask the chat room, how many other people have talked about their experience with coronavirus? Athletes themselves. I don't know that I've heard a bunch of them come out and talk about it.
I read an article about COVID-19 support groups popping up all across the country because of people like Von Miller and Rudy Gobert, people that for 3 months have not been able to smell, people that are having these crazy wild symptoms that are continuing and morphing, and their doctors can't tell them anything because the doctors don't know, right? Yeah. So they're forming these support groups and they're sharing their experiences. And I read and I jumped into some of those forums. Now, obviously, I don't know how easy it is to verify some of this stuff. So I think on some level you have to be careful. But I think we're also reaching the point now, Steve, where we have bungled this response so massively that most of us have personal stories, and not necessarily ourselves who have gotten it, but people close enough to us, or whatever the case, maybe family, friends, maybe you know someone who's died, and then you have people like Von Miller who are speaking up. And Von Miller, you can't question Von Miller, right? You can't go to Von Miller and be like, well, he had pre-existing conditions. Von Miller's a pussy. No, Von Miller's Von Miller. And if he's still talking about lung capacity, again, you think I'm an athlete and I'm going to come back and risk diminishing my lung capacity because your bullshit ownership wanted to rake in some TV money?
Real quick, someone was asking about the coach who said
Thanks so much
COVID kicked his ass. Here's Mike Malone. Listen to this.
Time for a few more minutes with our Xfinity Monday Live guest, Michael Malone.
I'm not playing the whole thing. It's too long. But Malone, after he talked about it, the headline was, I kicked its butt, and that's all that was talked about. He actually said he did have some pain, some of the symptoms. Like, it was not an easy thing to beat. And at the end, he's like, I kicked its butt. But that was the headline that was grabbed. And I think a lot of people took that as like, hey, the Nuggets coach beat it easily. Like, that's not what he said. They used that in the headline, but there was more to the story.
Yeah. And that's what's so terrifying about this. I'm obviously not a medical expert. But I to have a virus that is so different in the way it affects people is so interesting to me, that you can have these people walking around asymptomatic or hey, I had a fever and I had a little bit of a cough. And then you have people like Von Miller who are like, yeah, I'm not the same person that I was 3 months ago and I'm still not recovered. Person A who's like, yeah, I still can't smell after 7 weeks. Like, and when I went through it, it ripped my lungs out. It felt like I was on death's door. Like I was, the stuff you read about this stuff, are well worded. The things you read about this virus are, terrifying, and the firsthand testimonials are terrifying. And again, the way it seems to not affect some, but then absolutely ravage other people it's really concerning.
Are people hiding it?
Absolutely.
I've actually said on the air a bunch of times that I think for the public good, anyone who has it should talk about the experience, good or bad. Like I was shocked that Frank Martin, the college basketball coach at South Carolina, didn't mention it until afterwards. Patrick Ewing had found out before, and he talked about it after, and for the most part, he got through it pretty well, but he did thank the people, at Georgetown Hospital for getting him through it. This is interesting. Brady also says when you've had it, you don't want to tell people because the public is freaked out by it. But if you have a story to tell, you actually could be doing public good by telling people, like, this is no joke. It's not the sniffles and a cough for a week.
That's not why the people aren't telling people. It's not because the public is freaked out about it. You don't want to tell people because you don't want to go to work and give it to someone and then have them go home and give it to their grandparents and then they end up dying. You don't want to be responsible for the person that killed your coworker's family. So it's much deeper and much more menacing and much more terrifying, I think, than that. I hate to be dark and depressing, you know what I mean? But I think when I put myself in the position of having COVID and going into the studio, right? I would be terrified and sickened even if I was asymptomatic, even just the fact that I didn't go and get tested and then I went in to a building and gave somebody COVID-19 and then they went home and gave it to someone and now that person's dead. It would just be a guilt trip of a lifetime. I don't know. It's just this whole thing is forcing people to deal with like stuff like that, like disclosing sickness. And in other words, you just say, man, I had the flu last week and I was up 2 days straight. I couldn't hold anything down and I was puking and man, it was terrible. You give someone the flu, it sucks and you feel bad about it, but it ain't like COVID. It doesn't change you forever. So I think there's a lot of psychology going into this to people not speaking up and not telling their story or waiting till after so no one around them has died and then they don't get judged because of it. It's just it's different for everybody. So I do commend everyone, the Patrick Ewings, et cetera, the people that did come out. And as you said, because I agree with you, Steve, I think especially if you're in a position like that, you have a good deal of power. Like a Von Miller, when he comes out, he talks about his experience and gives credence to the seriousness of COVID-19. And that's a good thing because we need that. We need pillars of the experience to hold up and say, hey, wear your masks. Hey, this doesn't just affect old people. Hey, we would like sports back. So I do agree with you. These are very important testimonials. Unfortunately, due to a lot of different reasons, not everyone is sharing their experience. And mind you, I'm not judging. I'm just saying there's a lot of psychology and nuance and things that we haven't experienced before as a society. Like, again, it's one thing to pass on the flu to someone and feel bad about it. It's another thing entirely to pass on COVID-19 and deal with the consequences and ramifications of that. So I think it's one of those things that we'll be examining for decades down the road, Cofield. I really do. I think it's something we'll talk about and dissect and read about and write about, make movies about, and everything.
We'll have to get in touch with Matt Peralt, who does radio for SB Nation. I saw him back at work today. He was back doing some radio. I think it was his radio show, or maybe it was just a video. I didn't get to check into it, but he got it. That was after his wife and daughter got it, and I think his daughter's under 10 years old. So we'll try to figure out. He said it wasn't good for his wife, and when he did like a 10-tweet thread on it, that it was not pleasant for his wife, and he was real worried about his daughter, and he had gotten it after multiple tests, or he got positive tests after like a week or so. He couldn't figure out why he didn't have it and they had it. So we'll track down Matt at some point. We were talking earlier about Manfred being a douche, and a couple people mentioned Gary Bettman. CJ Cards fan said that he trusts Bettman more, and that's saying something. Brady followed it up with, I would take 6 Bettmans over Manfred, which is amazing. Manfred has been. It's been disaster after freaking disaster. So the NHL dates are set. You are not confident baseball is going to work out. We can talk college football and NFL later on. Do you think the bubble concepts can work out? The NHL announced its dates today. So July 13th. So what are we looking at here? We're a week away. We're a week away. Next week, training camp opens. 13 days of training camp, 12 days of training camp. July 26th, the clubs travel to Canada. God damn it. That still stings. And then August 1st, play-in, round robin begins. How confident are we all that hockey because it is a true bubble concept. And at least in the case of Edmonton, they're going to East Jabib, and it's a smaller place. Toronto, we'll see how it works out. How confident are we that we're actually going to get the full gamut of NHL?
I'm pretty confident in this. From the standpoint that it's happening in Canada. The fact that Canada is overseeing this and controlling it in a way, obviously, along with the NHL. They seem to have been taking it seriously from the outset. I think there's a good chance we get hockey. I really do. And again, I think the reason that's happening is because it's happening outside of America. You're right about Toronto. Toronto's going to be interesting. Edmonton, I have no worry about Edmonton. That's going to be the best bubble you can possibly. That's where all bubbles should be. Should be in like outward wastelands in Western Canada or in the middle of the desert, you know? And yeah, it sucks Vegas missed out, but, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Sean chiming in with Trudeau over Trump. James saying the Canadian numbers are much better with regards to COVID. Brady coming over the top with, is that what, Trudeau about blackface? What is that?
He apologized for it.
Okay, it's all good.
Well, I mean, I didn't say that. Yeah. I'm just saying, you really want to play this or that with the two North American leaders? Like, get real, guys. Come on. Not a good look for Trudeau, though. No, I'm not going to sit here and be like, Hey, Jimmy Kimmel was Karl Malone.
You know what? At this point, for a leader to apologize.
Yeah, it means something.
Actually, a big step. Normally, I'm like, don't apologize. We don't care. You don't mean it. Don't bother. Now. I mean, I guess in a way, you know what? In the case of President Trump, he actually is granting my wish. He's like, you know what? I don't mean it, so I'm not going to apologize. I really mean what I say.
No, so you have to have feelings to apologize, Steve.
Did you quote like a Taylor Swift song there? Did I miss it, John?
I don't think so.
Okay, maybe you did. Okay, maybe. A couple of happy stories. We'll see if we can get happiness out of Big Mac on these. One, we talked about Pat Mahomes today and the extension with the Chiefs, and we talked about some of the challenges now, right? Hey, how do you build a team around a guy who's making 18, 20%, 22% of the salary cap? The draft challenges now for Veach, the GM, and Andy Reid. But let's step back for a second and just look at the story from a distance. We've got a guy who just signed a $500 million contract. That is, and by the way, was not a consensus number one pick, was not the next Peyton Manning. There were, I mean, I'll say everyone in the first round had a chance in him because the Chiefs, it wasn't like the Chiefs traded up from, what was he, the 12th pick? It wasn't like the Chiefs were at 13, right?
I'm just glad the Chicago Bears didn't have a pick in that year's draft. It would really kill me to know that they were on the board and had a chance to take, but luckily that year they had traded out the first round picks and no picks were made, so I don't need to worry about anything like that.
Dude, how much does it sting? Because I think about this all the time, and I've actually, when I talk to my Kansas City friends, I'm like, you lucky motherfuckers. Do you realize McKinnell's Bears, my Jets, I can name like 4 good quarterback seasons by Jets quarterbacks. Like really good seasons, maybe 5 in my, 38 years of being a fan, 5 years. You know how amazing it must be to know it, like, barring any serious injury, the Chiefs fans will have a good quarterback for the better part of 15 years?
Good? You said good. Have a good quarterback. Yeah. No. You're going to have a all-world, having the other defense shit their pants every Sunday sort of quarterback where at the end of the game they're like, hey, Pat, can I get your jersey? Hey, Pat, will you sign my wristband? Hey, Pat, can I trade shoes with you? He's that type of good. He's LeBron James good. He's top of the food chain, give you nightmares all week while you're scheming for his no-look passes and his coming back down in vitally important games, and if you need someone to get you 28 points and a half, that's your guy. No, it is a massive day for sports, massive day for athletes, and Kansas City fans should be still up right now. They should be on this happy hour drinking and getting absolutely housed because, again, your football team, the red and yellow, is set up in ways that I could never even imagine, Steve. I could never imagine having Pat Mahomes under center. It's got to be the best, like, warm, comfy blanket. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I'm so jealous.
How about the generational wealth?
Yeah.
Saying $500 million. Then how much is this guy going to make in endorsements? I mean, there's a chance. Could he make another 500 in endorsements?
Depends on
be a
MVPs
billionaire.
and Super Bowls he wins.
Yeah, be a billionaire playing sports. And we've seen Jordan post career turn into a billionaire. I think LeBron's going to get there eventually.
Yeah, I think Mahomes, like every NFL player, has the obstacle to overcome, the face mask, right? You're playing with the helmet on. There have been plenty of players that can kind of break through that mold and still be massive, massive, massive entities. And listen, Mahomes has those capabilities. We've seen it. He's very charismatic. His smile lights up a room. He seems to have a good sense of humor. It's his on-the-field product is lights out, which is really what this all stems from, right? That's really the straw that stirs the drink, is that we care about Pat Mahomes because he is so electric on the field, but he's got a lot of intangibles too. So, no, I mean, it just depends on what he wants to do. Does he want to be like Mike Trout, right? Mike Trout can make a shit ton of money. He just doesn't want to. He just makes it on the field, and that's all he cares about, right? Does Pat Mahomes care about making himself a brand and putting himself out there and being a commodity and, having a cool logo and going out and doing whatever, he wants to do? I don't know if he wants to do that. I think he does. You've seen it with the ketchup stuff. So, yeah, I think he could be a billion-dollar guy.
You look back on the 2017 draft, obviously you lament that year because you actually traded up from 3 to 2 to get Mitch Trubisky. The Titans took Corey Davis. Jags took Len Fournette, who they can't stand and they're done with. The Bengals, this is amazing. And by the way, I had that wrong earlier. I said 12th, he's the 10th. 12th was Deshaun Watson. The Bengals took John Ross, a wide receiver, in the 9-hole right before Mahomes. Mahomes could be a billionaire. John Ross has caught 49 passes in 3 seasons total.
Yeah, at least they didn't mortgage their future to jump up one spot for a guy who played 1 season at North fucking Carolina.
Oh, my God.
There's a glass half full to every other team except the Chicago Bears. It is a great day to be a Chiefs fan, and it is another shit day in Chicago Bears fandom land. It is the worst. I hate it.
You know what's crazy out of this draft, too, is that the Chiefs were at 27 and somehow got up to 10 to get Pat Mahomes. The funny thing is the Bills were the team that traded out of the spot, which should kill Bills fans, but they actually did get a top 5 guy at his position in Tre'Davious White. So they got a really good player, but obviously we're not comparing a cornerback to a billion-dollar quarterback.
Yep.
My God.
And you were talking about the future. I mean, doesn't it kind of just feel like, Steve, that the future of the Chiefs is going to be very Patriots-esque in the sense that you're just going to build the system around Pat. You're going to build players up. They're going to look really good under Mahomes. You're going to let them walk. Then you're going to draft new talent, and you're just going to rely on Mahomes being this 50-touchdown quarterback every year, no matter who is in the system. I mean, that's really the only way they can approach it.
This would be amazing. What if Pat Mahomes gets $500 million in his career? And by the way, this is a 10-year deal. Well, make it 12. The crazy thing is, if he actually did stay healthy and took care of his body and can lengthen his career out like Breeze, and I'll throw my guy in, Phillip Rivers and Brady, he's actually done with this contract at 36.5. What if he could get, like, when he's done, what are we looking at? 12 years from now is like 2032. What if he's still good enough then and he's won like 5 Super Bowls and he's like Brady-esque in great shape, get some guy to give him steroids, whatever. Not that Brady's doing that, right? But he's 30, he's going on his 37th birthday. What if he could get another 3-year deal? And at that point, what are quarterbacks making? What's the top quarterback making? Like, are we going to be looking at Mahomes in 2031 and 32 and you're like, oh my God, $42 million. This is a bargain. Trevor Lawrence is making 80.
Am I naive to think that we will be leveling off? Like, I do feel like we will reach a point where contracts, where there's just only so much money in the world and there's only so much interest that sports fans can have. right? $500 million. Like, remember when Magic signed the 25 for 25 deal back whenever that was? And we were like, oh my! So I know we've been building on these, these benchmarks. I remember when Ryan Sandberg was the highest paid player in baseball at $7 million a year. Like, I know we've been increasing at exponential rates. I just don't know how long this can increase. But Steve, if it does increase, and you're talking about, like you said, 2032, 2033, then yeah, we are going to be on to the point to where players are just buying their teams, which is awesome. You know what I mean? It's player empowerment. It's what should be happening. Why should Jerry Jones? And okay, I shouldn't be so hard on ownership. Like, they do give up and they do take risks, but I'll just say this: I would like to see more players as owners in sports, and that looks like it's going to be, as Cards fan pointed out, a real possibility in 10 years. That's so much money.
It's so crazy, and everyone around him is going to make a ton of money. Make sure you get some insurance. So it's a very good story. I know we're not all in on happy stories, but we need some of them now. And I mean, from every indication, Pat Mahomes is a really nice kid. Is a really nice family. We were talking today on Cofield and Company that his dad actually made the majors. His dad turned out to be a little underwhelming based on expectations, although he was only a 6th-round pick. But Pat Mahomes, the pitcher, lasted about 7-8 years. He made $2.6 million, and now his son, is on the verge of potentially, if he stays healthy, making $500, $600, $700 million playing football. Crazy.
He makes more than that a game. I'm terrible at math, but Pat Mahomes makes more than 16 games in it, $32 million a year. Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah, once he gets to the full salary, I think the next 2 years he makes about 10, 22 on the books, but once he gets to over 40, he actually makes more than his dad made his entire career per game.
Wow.
It's pretty nuts. When will a fighter be rich enough to buy into the UFC for a big stake like Donnie? Is that the right one? No, Mark. Does Donnie own part of it too? Mark Wahlberg.
No, Mark. Yeah,
and Brady and all these other guys. Will it be George Masvidal? Are you happy for George Masvidal? Or is this a kind of a mixed bag that he got UFC 251 main event against Kamaru Usman on very late notice because poor Gilbert Burns, ready to cash in big time, test positive for coronavirus?
Yeah, it's one of those classic double-edged swords in MMA or in sports in general, but it tends to happen more in fight sports due to things like late replacements and prize fights, right? For those that don't know, George Masvidal is about a real one as you can get in terms of where he came from and the type of fighter that he is. You guys remember Kimbo Slice, the YouTube fighting sensation. Masvidal started fighting in those boatyards.
He did. You know what? I didn't know that. He was he was out there with Bruce Leroy, and really he was doing that in Miami too. I didn't realize he was a freaking street fighter.
Yep, that's awesome. And for Kimbo, like he fought for Kimbo in those boatyards. So there's that direct lineage there. You probably pull it up on YouTube if you want. But and then his introduction to the kind of, I was like the mainstream mixed martial arts media, but I mean, he was the victim of the submission of the year in 2008 or 2009 at Bellator to Toby Yamada, where he got reverse triangle. So then he kind of went through this journeyman sort of career where I would imagine if you were an opponent of Masvidal's or a potential opponent of Masvidal's, he wasn't a guy that you particularly wanted to fight because he didn't really have a name value, but there was a good chance he would fuck you up just because he's crazy. Really well-rounded skill set, but what I mean from him being crazy, like think of like the Diaz brothers, cut from that cloth, right? Where fight anytime, any place, just make sure the check clears. That's why you're seeing him fight at Yas Island against Kamaru Usman. What sucks for me is that for the last 3 years, I've watched this hard-nosed street kid, essentially, who, again, is well-rounded, and, he's a true mixed martial artist, but he's become this true prize fighter. Like, I think it culminated with the quick knockout to start the fight against Ben Askren. And I remember I had Askren in to our studios that week, and during the conversation to Ben, he had made some comment about, well, he thinks he's this slick-talking, badass, backyard, Cuban brother, yada, yada, yada. And I guess I kind of smirked at him, and he's like, what? And I was like, well, he's like, how do you see him? And I was like, well, how you just described him, a badass backyard, take no prisoners, Cuban street brawler, right? And we saw how that turned out. The whole world saw how that turned out. That came on the heels of a Darren Till knockout, and then you see the win over Nate Diaz. So Masvidal finds himself this street fighting Cuban immigrant kid for his first, serious, I mean the BMF title, but like his first serious title fight, and it comes on 10 days' notice against a really fun stylistic matchup in Kamaru Usman and a great champion in Kamaru Usman. But as a fan, as a fan of mixed martial arts, you have to feel like you're getting gypped out of the true championship debut that should be the story of George Masvidal. Now, if he goes out on Saturday and he finishes Usman, then it's one of the greatest stories in MMA history, and we're going to be talking about Jorge Masvidal for a very, 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 very long time. I just hope this isn't the last we see of him in this spot, because the path that he has walked and fought to get to this point, it's amazing. It's amazing the string of wins he's put together, and I really want to be hyped for this fight. But there's a part of me that's just like, I don't particularly like Masvidal's chances against Usman in a 3-month straight-up championship fight. Give Masvidal 10 days to prepare for that nightmare? I think, he's doing it for the money, and props to Masvidal. Props to Masvidal. It's a huge risk. So, yeah, Steve.
What do you think about what Sean says here? He's 20 pounds overweight. Dude is fighting an uphill battle for this fight.
I mean, he's fighting whatever. He's fighting an uphill battle no matter what, because he's not getting a full camp, and Kamaru Usman's been training for months for this. And Usman's a nightmare. Everywhere the fight goes, Usman's a problem. Masvidal, the same thing, but I just think Usman's a little bit better, and the wrestling is nowhere near comparable. If Usman wants to make this an ugly fight and make you pissed that you paid $69.99 or whatever it is for it, he can do that. He can be a very methodical, tactical, and frankly boring fighter.
Can Masvidal sucker Usman into a stand-up battle? Basically call him out, say, now these are his words, these would be his fake words, not mine, because I love wrestlers who just freaking grind out fights and, stick to their game plan and embarrass guys if you're not well-rounded. But could he just be like, let's go, pussy? Stand up. None of that wrestling stuff. Don't be human blanket, Kamara. You say your hands are good now? Let's go. Stand up, brother.
Maybe. The issue is that it just happened to him against Colby Covington, right? He got in that fight with Covington, and he was so pissed with Covington, he almost let Covington win that fight because Kamaru didn't do what he was best at. And he let Covington get under his skin. I don't think he's going to do that with Masvidal. And, they share a history, right? Train together. So I don't see that happening. I think Kamaru Usman learned his lesson against Covington. And again, he's been preparing for this. I don't know. It's a really, really tough task for Masvidal. It really is. It really is. But again, I understand why he's doing it, because this is a massive carrot being dangled in front of him in the middle of a pandemic. He knows the UFC needs him. The UFC does not want to put Colby Covington in that spot. No matter what Colby Covington says, and he's the number one draw, and he'll fight these virgins and do whatever. Just look at someone put up the interview metrics on YouTube for 2 interviews with ESPN when they were doing the media rounds a couple months ago. And the interview with Helwani with Masvidal had like 600,000 views, and the interview with another ESPN reporter with Covington had vastly different, much lower numbers. It's just, Masvidal's the money fight, and he knew that, and I'm sure he got a nice extra payday and some extra cash on top of it to take a really dangerous fight on 10 days' notice, so he's going to be doing it. But it feels a little exploitative, and I feel like we're being gypped of the Jorge Masvidal championship debut. But, again, if he goes out and takes care of business, and my God, what a story.
270? 270, do you play it? Do you play it at 250? Do you play the dog? Or are you just waiting for... I actually think there'll be late money action on Masvidal, and it'll get pushed down, and then you could probably get Usman at like 210, 220.
I could see that happening. And the issue that you run into with this is it's such a sharp versus square matchup in the sense that no one knows who Kamaru Usman is, right? No one knows who Usman is. So at least some people know that Masvidal is a thing, right? He fought for the BMF title. He's on Levitard. Like, he gets some ESPN love. He's got the fly dressing. He's a character, right? So I'm with you. I think if there is a play here, it definitely sure as shit isn't on Masvidal. It is on Usman, and you have to wait until the in-test draws later in the week. And there will be interest in money coming into Masvidal. Especially, Steve, I'm assuming Masvidal is going to be hitting the media circuit and talking it up and doing his best, to pump up the interest. And once that happens, people are going to want to cheer for him because he's that type of guy. You want to have skin in the game, and you like Masvidal, and you want him to win. So, yeah, I think there might be some value with Usman as it gets closer, but we'll see. Who knows?
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. So we'll get to the rest of the card later in the week. Adam Hill will be back in probably tomorrow night. So we'll get into the fights. Especially, I'm intrigued by the numbers on Volkanovski and Holloway. I find that one pretty amazing. Let me get you. I got to close out with a comment about beers and also a really good fireworks show. But for our hardcore, I'm not even going to say hardcore. It's basically, hey, what do you like on ESPN Radio, on ESPN Las Vegas? Let's see. ESPN's looking at lineup changes on the national side, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And they are going to replace the morning show. So tell me what you think of this, audience, because I know Ryan is not the biggest on national radio and listening to some of these national radio people, especially if they've never really done national radio, which is something we can get into. Got to give him a chance, though. Got to give him a chance. Andrew Marchand, who's leaked stuff all the time from ESPN Insiders. The morning show could be Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and one Zubin Mehenti, who's been a Sports Center guy. Any reaction at all, Ryan? They're replacing Mike Golick Jr., Golick Sr., and Trey Wingo, who clearly has found out that getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day to do a morning show and having fresh topics can suck if you're not really a lover of radio. So he's out. Golick Jr., I'll tell you where he may go later in the lineup, but the morning show will be potentially. This could just be, licking the finger. I won't lick it because of coronavirus, because I'm very dangerous. Hold on. Let me put on some, put it on you. Let me do some sanitize. Now lick it. Anyway, Zubin Mehenti, Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams. Any reaction?
It's kind of like what you just said, right? In terms of the people that you're bringing in and the type of professionals that you're asking to do the job. I don't mind Jay Williams. I think he's pretty good by and large for what he does. And everyone else?
Again,
I don't know Zubin.
Every day, Monday to Friday. 3 hours a day. 3 hours a day. Keyshawn's already doing radio. So Keyshawn has been a longtime contributor and a show regular on ESPN LA. I think he'll bring it. But here, this is what gets me. So a couple early reactions. Gil the Thrill says Jay Williams sucks. Every time I see him on ESPN, I change the station. Keyshawn might be good. Middle-aged kid says Fox National is so much better than ESPN right now on radio. They need to make changes. Okay, they're going to. Mr. Tiger Gator, who's a listener who's following us after being introed to the show by Petro, says that sounds awful with pathetic ratings. I'll say right out of the gates, and I don't want to write anyone off because listen, a show can be produced up. But Keyshawn is also part of NFL Live, and Jay Williams is a big figure with NBA and mostly college basketball. He also fills in from time to time on First Take. I know I'm a broken record on this, but when you put together a radio lineup, you got to have radio people. It's mostly their focus. And for us, we would get the show from 3 to 6 and maybe an extra hour until 7. So this is like our early morning show before the press box.
Yeah.
And this is another thing from Brady. A forced show with forced pairings always comes across as such. Chemistry is so important on radio. And that's why I think Wingo's had such a tough time, because I don't view him as a chemistry guy. To me, he's a TV guy, upper crust, Greenwich, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Like I've said it many times. There are certain radio people where I'm like, man, brother, your life is not like mine. You don't come from where I come from. And not like I come from some hard Scrabble background, but not down with it. You ready for the rest of the lineup, potentially? Well, depends on what their duties are the rest of the day. Uh-oh. It sounds like these are going to be split guys again. Levitard may lose an hour. He's the best guy they have. He may lose an hour. Then I'm doing Eastern times. 12 to 2 would be Mike Greenberg going back to doing a 2-hour radio show after he does Get Up. His TV show.
See all that energy and chemistry Greeny's going to be bringing after doing that show. Listen, man. I don't know what ESPN is thinking. You go back to the Jay Williams and the original lineup that you were talking about. Does that inspire? Yeah, Kushon. Does that inspire you to turn on your radio and be excited? Like, I can't wait to catch that debut of all that personality and the conversation that those guys are going to have. And to Ryan Hill's point right there, real sports fans don't watch these national shows. Absolutely correct. I think that they're people.
Well, he's saying
podcasts.
Are you saying positive surprised by the ratings, Ryan Carl, or they'll be abysmal? Are you saying that they don't watch the TV show, so the radio takes would be fresh? Go ahead, Ryan. I cut you off. Other Ryan, main Ryan, Big Mac Ryan.
No, I think there's back to. I think he's saying that you kind of have the people that you listen to and you consume and you curate. Before, I think, okay, positive ratings. So he's saying, he's saying, Steve, that they don't watch the TV shows, so there
won't be saturation. He might be right, because a lot of people, if people are driving around 12 to 2 and 2 to 4. By the way, I didn't mention 2 to 4. After he does First Take, Max Kellerman will do 2 hours. So Greenberg and Kellerman, after doing TV in the morning, radio, they'll be doing 12 to 2 on radio and 2 to 4 on radio, respectively.
Kellerman solo?
Yeah.
I
mean, they might have him with a strong sidekick, or they'll have people sitting in.
Here, my philosophy on radio is
only 2 hours.
I can absolutely do a solo show. I have no problem doing a solo show. I can talk to myself for 6 fucking hours a day, right? I think most of you that have ever listened to any of the shows that I've been on, you know that to be true. I would hate to listen to it as a listener. It would. I cannot stand solo shows of one person yelling at you, or in the case of Mike Greenberg and Max Kellerman, not yelling at you. And the fact that they're talking about cutting down their best show by a country mile in Dan Levitard shows you how out of touch and delusional that they are. Now, I'm not saying ensemble cast and character is I'm breaking new ground. Like, that's the future of radio. I don't know what the future of radio is, right? I don't think anybody 100% does, or podcasting, or any of that. I just know what I like to listen to, and what I like to listen to is personality, energy. I like to feel that I'm in a room with my friends, and I personally like ensemble casts. I don't like the ego that comes along a lot of the time with solo shows, and it's precisely why that I stopped listening to radio in the mid-2000s, in the late 2000s, because so much of those shows, Steve, with individual centrics, and you know the hosts that I'm talking about, but it just became too much, and it became too ego-driven, and I think a lot of those guys, listen, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, but they became caller-heavy, they lacked originality, and they became stale, and I think that's what's happening with the ESPN lineup. At least when you look at the way it's constructed now, it reads to me, Steve, as stale. You're taking TV guys, you're making them double up. The passion is declining. And I don't know how much passion they actually had to begin with in terms of energy and charisma. Some of these people aren't my favorite people. I wouldn't listen to them. Yeah, but that's just me.
If you're making let's say $3, $4, $5, $6 million a year, which is probably the range. I know Greenberg's on the high end of that, and I'm not sure what Max Kellerman makes, but if you're paid to do a TV show and then they're like, hey, economics of the biz, as who said it earlier, Mark in Vegas was saying, as Big Mac knows, business environment's tough. It comes down to economics. If you're making that much money and they're like, hey, you got to do a radio show, what sort of feeling do you think they're going to have going into the launch of the radio show? Like a really good one? You think they're both going to be fired up? So,
and as I don't know who made the comment, but it comes through to you, the listeners, right? Like, you know that when you hear people on our station, you know that we love and hate each other, right? And we don't hold anything back, and we genuinely do love getting in a room and having fun and talking shit, right? That's curated. It's curated in many different ways, but we don't need to go into specifics by that. But as you said, and I apologize to the listener who said it, but it is as subconscious as the vibrations in your voice. Like, that shit comes through to the listener, and that energy can be felt, and it certainly can, and more importantly, cannot be felt in certain situations. So. I'm glad you guys, the listeners, you understand it, because it's going to be a long haul for ESPN National. I don't know what they're thinking.
I got to close on this since we're up against it here, and we appreciate everyone chiming in. I'll admit I'm a dick. All right, I am. I'm going to punch up. This is a fireworks show. I'm just going to ask, are you rooting for this guy to continue this great show, or are you rooting for it to end in horrible fashion? So slow down. See what happens when you have to multitask? I don't know. He's doing a wheelie, and he's shooting fireworks off the front of his bike. Why don't sigh? Give it a chance.
Because, man, I mean, first of all, I'm a motorcycle rider. I was the first of anyone in my friend group. I had a motorcycle at 16. I was raised by people that love bikes and the responsibility. I know people. We all know people most likely who've died on these things. I'm all for them. I love them. I love my motorcycle. Don't be an idiot. So no, I don't want this shit to get shared, and I hate to be. I hate to close on this note, all serious, but shit.
Did you ever have the kind of bike that you could do a wheelie on, like in your Chris Webber shorts when you were a little bit smaller? Could you do a wheelie?
Yeah.
Dude, you're an
Anyone
idiot.
can do a wheelie. It doesn't matter how fat you are. You're talking about serious machines. You can be 600 pounds. That thing will throw you up on your ass in no time.
Let's watch.
Let's do.
Pretty long ride. Okay, I'll break in. That might be a friend next to him doing the video. If you were not related to this person, you didn't know them, they're a stranger, would you ride next to him to get the video?
No.
Okay.
No. Can you imagine riding on the other side, coming the other way in traffic, and you feel like you got Roman candles getting shot at your car window, you veer off and you hit a light pole or some shit? I've turned into an old man. This is terrible. I hate what I've become. Just 20 years ago, I would have been like, oh, that's badass. Oh, yeah, America. Woo. Now I'm just like, you know how many people might die because of stupid shit like this? And then the people that see it and then go out and try to copycat it. But whatever. What can I do? I'm helpless. Go do wheelies and shoot Roman candles up in front of your... Well,
just keep watching. How bad would you feel if you're filming him and he wiped right under your car and you ran him over?
How bad would I feel? I'd be terrified that I was like get arrested and in prison for something. I don't even like. I don't know if I don't think these guys are thinking, Steve. I don't think they've thought that far ahead. You know what I mean? It's just very much literally by the seat of their pants.
Understatement of the night. I don't think this guy's thinking. Is that right? Is that right?
It's a light observation.
Are you sure? God damn it. I wish I could pull this up quicker, but are you sure that anyone can do a wheelie?
Yeah, I mean, if you're on a bike like a Ducati or a Honda or whatever, yeah. I mean, not a Harley. Not everyone can do a wheelie on a Harley. But yes, if you are on a certain type of sport bike, anyone can do a wheelie.
Razorback scooter.
Yeah.
Darwin Award candidate. Brady's like, I want to see him light the fireworks. Brady with another comment. Was he wearing a mask? Yes.
Yeah, you're full face. You didn't see it? You got a helmet and everything.
Are you sure on this whole wheelie thing? I think there's a weight limit.
There's not. I mean, I guess you can Google world's fattest wheelie.
Come on.
Okay, those bikes are not doing a wheelie. And yeah, I'm telling you, okay, maybe not. Maybe if you put that dude on a Ducati and had him try to do a wheelie, maybe there is a weight limit. I can see. I never really thought about the actual physics of putting a person like that on a bike. Like, they swallowed those bikes.
Oh my God, yeah.
Where's the seat, I wonder?
Were you a big embedded. Were you a big Guinness Book of World Record fan as a kid? Like, did you get the book and look through it?
I didn't get the book, but it was like 92, 91 or whatever. You had your school library, and the Guinness Book of World Records was always fun. The new copy came out, or looking through old copies, and you just kind of like scan through them. So that was before the internet, kids. That's what we did.
That's how we learned.
Read world records.
These are the look at the tuchus on these two. These are the McGuire twins. They were at their peak a combined 1,470 pounds.
Should have been in the WWF.
I love these men with every fiber in my being. It's one of the reasons I got into radio, just so I could, because I love oddities. We should do a late night happy hour on maybe Petro's back on Wednesday. Petro, when he met me back in the 90s, was like, dude, you love like Samoans and people with giant heads and just people riding scooters and fat chicks bouncing. Well, he didn't say the fat chick bouncing off the patio into the pool thing, but these guys are my motivation for what I do. And like Don Mattingly, like I liked them growing up. Cecil Cooper.
You're like halfway there, man. You're halfway to living your dream.
The McGuire twins are my top 5. Mini picture.
Bro,
there they are. Look at them.
You treat every day like National Fried Chicken Day, you'll be there in about 8 months. Keep at it.
Getting there. Look at them.
It's America. We can do anything, buddy.
Wow. How big are those pants?
You know what? Plaid really is thinning.
Yeah, that is an 80s, late 70s outfit. The chef's pants with how fucking sweaty are they? The flannel.
How?
I love them.
They are so fat.
1,470 pounds combined.
How did they not parlay that into like a WWF tag team run? How are they not Earthquake and Typhoon?
I think they did do a little bit of wrestling.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And you do know they made an appearance on the Simpsons, right?
No,
I'm gonna try to see if I can find the picture. It's like doing the stupid Google search for pictures. I didn't know I was going here. This radio gold was going to be brought up.
So was it on the rundown?
It wasn't on the rundown.
There they are.
Are you seeing them? Up
yeah,
in the corner
right
there?
Top left. Yeah.
Who are these chicks? What's going on here?
Ginger twins?
Got to organize this thing. Otherwise, wild pictures come up and then it gets kind of creepy. I apologize for that. No, you know what? When did they die?
As soon as that picture was taken. Right after this photo, the twins exploded.
Do you think they made it into their 40s?
Hell no.
Not to be morbid or mean.
No.
McKinnell with a simple no.
No. What pumps that? What runs that? I mean, I'm not. I shouldn't be talking, but shit, man.
Actually, they did wrestle. I'm seeing I'll send you the wrestling picture. You'll love that. Surprisingly, their big move appeared to be the splash. The McGuire twins, Billy made it to, quick math, 33 years old. Benny actually he had a pretty good run. He made it to 45. So,
okay.
Yeah, but when you're officially, I don't want to overstate it. They were 1,468 pounds combined from parts unknown.
I know how lazy and how gluttonous I am. I can't fathom the level that you've got to be at to get to that point. I don't know. Brady. No. Fuck no. Hell no.
Could the actual roof of the house?
Yeah, no.
If they both got up there at 1,400 pounds.
You need to get Danny Acosta. You need to get Danny Acosta back on the show and tell him about the roof that I fell in with him. In my life, I have fallen through 3 roofs, and I am a quarter of the size of one of those twins. So absolutely not. Absolutely not.
One of the things that Clay and I definitely have a connection on. We did a bunch of radio together over the years, but we definitely have a connection on the McGuire twins. I know he loved them, and he loves old wrestling. So.
He likes the oddities, as you say. Why don't you say freak shows, man? You say oddity, it's freak shows. They're fucking freaks. Like, come on. Be nice. Or be truthful. Don't lie to the audience. You know what you're trying to say.
All right, we're back tomorrow. Big Mac, great job. Stay on Big Mac when we drop off. And Adam Hill will be back tomorrow with some special guests. We have a guy tomorrow who made a crazy weight loss bet. And we want to find out how he did. I thought it was next to impossible, the most ridiculous bet I've ever heard. And then Wednesday, I got to be careful, man. I can't say freaks. Can't say freaks, man. I'll get canceled. Every day I'm an idiot. I'm doing like, we put commercials in this freaking thing. This would be like another 3-hour show. I'm doing 6 hours of radio in some form or fashion. I'm asking for it. That's why I think when people now are like, man, you really kind of just lead and you're letting the other guys talk a lot. I want to survive. I'm afraid to say anything anymore. Cancellation coming any day now.
I'll say it. I can't. I'll take it. It's all good. Yeah,
we're putting McKinnell on the griddle. See, when you're working your way back to bigger things, you can say whatever the fuck you want. You're actually rewarded for it. When my position, man, this is not. What show did I walk off of? Was that the night with the producers?
What?
I don't know. When did I walk? My memory stinks. Producers night. Yeah,
What'd you?
Oh, we had all the producers on one night. We had Chrissy on with Ari and.
That Friday night. Yeah.
Yeah, they were trading story. I don't know why there was so much confusion on that. I walked off because Von Tobel was on too. I walked off so they would all feel free to annihilate me. I was like, here, go for 20 minutes. Do whatever you want. So, and I never went back and watched.
Go crazy.
I was not concerned. All right, everybody, we're back tomorrow, 3:00 with Pritch in studio. And then we'll have Adam Hill. We have to get Adam tested. And by the way, I agree that they were way too nice, although I didn't watch any of it. I just lied. And yes, JVT is there's a bitterness about JVT that even surpasses all of us. He's 29-year-old shake your fist at the sun guy. He's developed quite the edge